So as I'm sure a lot of you have already heard, not this weekend, but the following weekend will be the Ghost Recon Breakpoint open beta. Now, if you guys missed my video from yesterday where I went ahead and talked about all of the new stuff that's going to be added into the open beta, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to have an eye up top so you guys can check that video out. But specifically in today's video, we're going to be going over the entire patch notes. And honestly, you guys are not going to want to miss any of this information. Of course, like always, I'm going to have a link in the description to the full article so you guys can go and read up on it if you want to. But honestly, we have a lot of information to go over, starting from animations of running, crouching, proning, sprinting. Camera angles have now been changed. You will also have better control of your actual character. Vehicle changes have been made. There's honestly so many changes within these patch notes that it's left me absolutely mind blown. Things that I've read you guys tell me in the comments as well as tell me on Twitter. It honestly seems like they're tackling every single one of these and they don't plan on stopping, because they even mention specifically what things they're working on for the next patch that's going to be coming out after this one. But anyways, we're going to be going over all of that information. So like always, let's waste no more time and let's get right into it. So for the very first thing that we're going to be going over is going to be better controls of your main character. This is one of the biggest issues that I had with Breakpoint, and honestly one of the only issues that I had, and that was how clunky the character actually felt. Sometimes when I was running, it would continue to run or kind of slide forward once I came to a complete stop. Weapon switching animations were just way too slow. Crouching animations, proning animations, jumping back up from the prone position. Just all of that stuff seemed really clunky and really slow. But it looks like for the open beta, we will not be experiencing this anymore. For the very first thing, it says enhanced responsiveness for the main character so the controls feel smoother. Now in the background right now, I'm going to be showing you guys the examples that they gave us. They give us the old example from the previous build that we played to what we're going to be experiencing in the open beta. As you can see, there are perfect examples of how the running was before and how it's going to be now, which obviously you can see that it comes to a complete stop. Weapon switching animations are extremely faster, and honestly the stance change is literally night and day difference. Now aside from the main character animations, it seems like they've also worked a little bit on the chest animations. So basically when you open those up, it won't take as long for it to kind of show the character opening up the chest and the loot popping up on the right hand side. So that whole process now within the open beta should be a lot faster. On top of that, they also mentioned that there's less paralysis time after injury is triggered, so you will not have to wait so long after you are injured to regain the full potential of your character's control back. And finally, it looks like the animation for getting into vehicles was cut down a little short as well, so that'll be a little bit faster. Now on top of the animations being also cut down, they've also added the cancellation ability for a lot of these things. For instance, in the case of a chest, if you went ahead and started opening it and maybe an enemy started attacking you, you wouldn't be able to do anything about it until the full animation is over, which honestly could lead to you dying if you are playing on higher level difficulties. But it seems like that is not the case anymore, because you are now able to cancel chests, as well as the entry of vehicles, and the cancellation for gathering intel has also been increased a little bit. So definitely some really much needed animation changes right there off the very start. I know that when it came to the animation of this game, that was one of the stuff that a lot of people were talking about since the OTT. So it's really, really good that they're addressing this now in the open beta, so that way people aren't going with that bitter taste in their mouth to the launch. Moving into the next thing is camera angles. Now they didn't really touch too much up on this, but they actually mentioned that they changed the camera framing for the passenger seat of vehicles, so you should be able to shoot a lot better now. Along with that, some co-op information is also shared where they went ahead and worked a little bit on the debugging. So hopefully now when you guys are playing co-op within the actual open beta, you guys should experience a lot less sliding and teleportation and stuff like that. I'm sure many of you have had a case where you're playing with a friend and they're opening up some type of chest and you look at them and all of a sudden they slide all the way to where you are. I'm honestly not too technical with the whole networking and stuff like that, so I don't really know exactly how that works, but I know that that's exactly what they're talking about in this situation. Now vehicles are also briefly touched up on as well. Handbraking and drifting behavior was worked on a little bit. In the background right now, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the example of how they showed us the handbrake is going to be working. And on top of that, they also mentioned that they worked a little bit on the slopes. So if you guys noticed in the other betas, if you were driving up a hill, it's very similar to like real life where your car goes ahead and slows down a little bit as it struggles to give the torque in order for it to go up the hill. Well, it seems like they've kind of toned that down a little bit so it's a little more fluent when you're driving. I know I definitely agree with the slope change. I don't know exactly how the entire handbrake is going to work out. Hopefully it isn't too crazy to the point where you completely do a spin all the way around and it gets too wild. But anyways, moving on to the next thing, that is helicopters. It seems like this time they're going to be making it a lot more accessible for being able to get helicopters. So on top of the fact that they went ahead and added more helicopters throughout the world of Aurora, they actually added more ways for you to be able to get a helicopter. One of those ways being, by default, when you start the game, the Sparrow helicopter is going to be your default vehicle at a bivouac. And if you guys remember in the closed beta over on the Erewhon shop where you buy your vehicles, in order for you to be able to unlock the helicopters before, you had to unlock a specific skill tree that would unlock helicopters in the Erewhon shop. Well, it looks like for this specific build, that is no longer going to be the case, and you will be able to buy the helicopters at the Erewhon shop by default. Now moving on to the next thing, and that is smarter AI. So it looks like a lot of improvements have been made, starting with not allowing them to get stuck behind walls. NPCs related to specific missions improved to better move and follow more accurately. Improvements made to provide more logical enemy sniper behaviors so they remain at or near their vantage points, as well as NPCs will now take cover in a more realistic and logical way. So honestly, it's going to be really interesting to see these all play out, because I personally haven't had any issues with the AI, but I know that a lot of you have. So to see them operating in a more smarter way is going to be extremely interesting to see. Now, some gameplay changes were mentioned here, which honestly I'm really excited for because they were extremely annoying. But for starters, mortar is now far less precise to give players more opportunities to move and avoid the hits. On top of that, I know that this is one that my Milsim players are going to like, but the time before the reinforcements arrive has been increased, meaning players will have more time to react and kill the archetype radio operator. So it's going to be taking a lot more time for those reinforcements to come in, adding that new level of realism to those gameplays. Which, speaking of the Milsim players, they've actually made some changes to the difficulties of the game. So regular mode has now been notched down a little bit so that way it's a lot easier now. Which honestly, if that isn't crazy enough, they kind of added an aimbot in for arcade players. So if for some reason you do play on arcade, just know that it's going to be extremely easy now, and you also have the ability to turn on aimbot. Now for the extreme players out there, it seems like your world is getting a little bit harder. They mention the red lights on the mini maps that indicate enemy presence have been removed to provide increased immersion and challenge. As you can see in the background where I'm showing you their little example, you will now no longer have any type of indication in the minimap showing you exactly where the enemies are, regardless of whether you spot them or not. And now for the final thing that we're going to be going over, it is a new feature that is being added into the bivouac, and that is the shop menu. So now when you enter any bivouac, you will have the shop available in there for you that was normally only available in Erewhon. And just to be clear, this will have everything available in it. It'll have vehicles, weapons, gear. Every single thing that you have available in Erewhon will be available in your bivouacs now. Now, a couple of things were mentioned that were going to be added to the game at launch, which I'm going to show you guys on the screen right now exactly what that list is. And right off the start, I know that a lot of you are going to get excited about the very first one, which is weapon audio improvements will be coming at launch. Debug of vehicle entry interaction, better camera consistency with the main character, improve audio cues when concealed, hit, injured, etc., improved audio on vehicles, and slower vehicles like SUVs speeds increased. So aside from all the information that they collect within the open beta, they're also going to be adding these things for sure within the launch. But anyways, a couple of other things were also mentioned, like graphic improvements for all platforms, some PC changes, some guided experience changes, and just a lot of other things. So if you guys want to go ahead and check it out, like I said before, the link is going to be in the description. Go ahead and check up on the article. But if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a like on it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for all types of Breakpoint content. I'm honestly super excited for the beta, and I hope that you guys are. Let me know in the comments if you are. But anyways, that's going to do it for this video. Like always, I will see you guys in the next one.